Our last formed element is the platelet. Another word for them is thrombocytes, which means clotting cells. They are tiny little chunks of cell. So where the red blood cells don't have a nucleus, they're still a full cell. They've derived from a cell with a nucleus. It just got removed before they went into circulation because it would get in the way of that useful shape of theirs. In the bone marrow, there are precursor cells called megakaryocytes that are the last stage in going from hemocytoblast to platelet. So they are big cells with a nucleus, which is what karyon means. But then they break up into little pieces that don't get the nucleus, and those pieces are the platelets. The job of platelets is blood clotting. They stick together to block damaged vessels, and they can stimulate constriction of the vessel to reduce blood loss until it's fully repaired. Questions on platelets? Plasma composition. We saw on the chart before that it's 92% water. Of the solutes, protein is the most prevalent. It makes up about 7% of plasma volume. And then the last 1% is other solutes like glucose being transported, electrolytes, and so on. The plasma transports most of the nutrients, hormones, vitamins, and most of the carbon dioxide. And it's involved in regulating balance of fluids, electrolytes, and pH. There's three main categories of plasma proteins: albumins, globulins, and fibrinogen. Albumin's the most prevalent, makes up about 60% of the total protein. Its main job is as a solute in plasma. Because it's a protein, it's larger and it doesn't get out through the capillary walls as easily. So it makes sure there's a certain concentration in the blood to keep the water there. Albumins also can transport things like drugs and hormones. They just kind of hitch a ride on it and float around through the blood on the albumin. Globulins are the next largest portion. There's a couple of different types. Alpha and beta globulins are also for transport, especially lipids. Being hydrophobic, lipids can't swim. They need to get on a raft or a boat or something, and that's what the globulin does. Gamma globulins are antibodies. So they're going to be part of the immune system. The gamma globulins come from lymphocytes, specifically B lymphocytes, as we saw. The rest of these are produced by the liver. The last one, fibrinogen, is also involved in blood clotting.
Say that again about the liver.
The liver produces the plasma proteins except for gamma globulins. Any other plasma questions? Hemostasis. Blood standing still, that's the root words. This is how the body fixes a leak when a vessel gets damaged. There are three stages to it called vascular spasm, platelet plug formation, and blood coagulation. Technically, the coagulation is the part that's really referred to as clotting. But before introducing the term hemostasis, what else am I going to call it but clotting, because that's what you've heard of. Now, watch out for two terms that look similar, hemostasis and homeostasis. So, hemostasis means stopping the blood. Homeostasis means fixing things that are off from where they should be. First stage, the vascular spasm. Small blood vessels in the damaged area constrict, so they tighten up so that less blood gets through them. And that means both that the break is smaller and that less blood is being lost while we fix the leak. The vascular spasm lasts about half an hour, which is long enough for the other stages to take effect. Second is platelet plug formation. So here's our damaged vessel with platelets in it. When a platelet comes in contact with the broken edge of the vessel, it becomes sticky. It sticks to the vessel, and then other platelets stick to it, and they become sticky until you get so many stuck together that they cover the break. So that's our platelet plug. That'll keep you from losing any more blood, but we need something a little stronger to get it to really hold while it heals. And that's what our third stage is for. Blood coagulation is a long chain of events that we'll look briefly at but not go into all the details of, that the ultimate result of it is to turn the fibrinogen in the plasma into fibrin. Fibrin is a thread instead of a glob, and it forms a network and sticks together. It's the yellow shown in this picture. They form a net that traps cells and platelets, and then it tightens up to pull the broken edges of the vessel closer together. And so that's the coagulation. That forms a good, strong blockage so the body can repair the vessel. Coagulation is started by either extrinsic or intrinsic pathways, or extrinsic and intrinsic clotting mechanism. Extrinsic means it comes from outside. So this is stimulated when the blood touches either a damaged vessel wall or tissues outside the vessel. The intrinsic pathway is stimulated by a foreign substance in the blood without the vessel having to be broken. Something like collagen, which is usually found in the walls and the tissues, but not within the blood. So it can start from outside or inside the vessels. In both cases, there's this whole cascade of protein activation, where A activates B, B activates C, C activates D, and then finally, fibrinogen gets activated into fibrin and forms the net. Both mechanisms use positive feedback, where once you start it, it's going to keep going until you've made enough fibrin to block the hole. This is a flow chart of both mechanisms that list a bunch of the factors involved. And you see a lot of them are just called factor and a Roman numeral. You can see calcium involved here. Calcium ions, basically the same way that they work as a second messenger inside a cell. They can activate a protein outside a cell here. Where is it? Factor 8 over here is the one that's non-functional in the best known form of hemophilia, where somebody's blood just doesn't clot properly. And so down here, both of these come together for the last two stages where we activate our fibrin. Everything up here, you don't have to worry about the details in it. But any one of those protein factors, it's possible for someone to have a mutation where it doesn't work properly, and that can interfere with their blood clotting. Factor 8 is just the most commonly known one. And any of those would be something you could do for an extra credit report. Questions on hemostasis? Let's restart before we do blood types.